The Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
Hello, good evening everyone, and welcome to The Love Talk Show. I'm your host, James Marquez, and as usual, sitting by my side here with me is...
your wife, Elena Marquez. If you've been listening to us, you already know my name by heart. Right, welcome back to another episode, another very important topic.
And this is the last Love Talk Show of the week. Mm-hmm. It's Friday. And today we're talking about love after parenthood. Mm-hmm. During parenthood and after parenthood. We know that when a couple has children, everything changes. Dynamics changes. Time and as we know it, and hobbies and different things, interests, priorities. We have priorities. All these things change, and in many cases, the changes to a person's life or to a couple's life are drastic. Mm-hmm. Many of the things that the husband used to do, the woman used to do, personal interests go out the window. Sacrifices have to be made.
I mean, your life changes forever.
Yeah.
You know, being a parent, I know we're going to go into this very, very soon, but becoming a parent is a project. You need to plan, you need to think about it, because it involves a new human being who needs you full time for many years to come.
Unfortunately, in many cases, so much attention is put on the change of priorities, of things that have to happen on, the focus on the child, that something very important starts to suffer, and that is the marriage itself, the relationship.
Yes.
And that is a problem. But we're going to go to the intro. We're going to understand what we're talking about tonight. We'll come back in a few moments to talk about how to protect your marriage from deteriorating because the change is so severe that you stop putting attention and investing in what's important. Of course, the child is important, but your marriage is extremely important as well.
The arrival of a baby is often called the greatest joy in life, and it is. However, what we often don't discuss is the subtle shift that occurs afterwards. The person you built your life with can start to feel like a stranger. The romantic couple becomes a stressed out parenting team, and the space between you grows colder. Tonight, on the Love Talk Show, we are tackling a topic that affects nearly every parent: love after parenthood, navigating relationship changes after children. It's not a sign of failure, it's a profound transition, and the statistics prove it. Renowned relationship experts John and Julie Gottman found that a staggering 67% of couples experience a steep decline in relationship satisfaction in the first 3 years after welcoming a baby. Research from Cohen & Cohen showed that 92% of couples experience increased conflicts in that first year alone. The argument might be about chores or childcare, but the root cause is often exhaustion and a sense of disconnection. A 2013 study found that the emotional toll is significant. 29% of parents reported feeling less close to their partner, and 25% believed they had lost their sense of identity as a couple. It's a fundamental change that leaves many feeling isolated, even while they're together. And for some, the change is too much to bear. Research from LeBlanc in 1999 found that 17% of couples reported that having a baby was a contributing factor to the end of their relationship. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if there were ways to reconnect, to remember the love, and to thrive as both parents and partners? We'll be answering these questions and more. Join us as we explore the most challenging and the most rewarding shift in a relationship's life cycle. We'll give you the tools to reignite the spark and build a stronger connection than ever before. Now, it's time to dig deeper on today's episode of The Love Talk Show.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
Very well. We have already established that everything changes when you have children. And without a doubt, there is more pressure, there is more stress, less time for yourself, for your marriage, for your plans, for things you like to do. And that takes a toll. The problem is that it takes a toll on the part that it cannot take a toll in. There are many things we can sacrifice when we have children and life changes, right? You sacrifice hobbies, you sacrifice things you like to do, but your marriage cannot be affected. What many people don't understand is that what children need to thrive is a stable and happy family. So when that starts to suffer, the children also start to suffer. Now, before we get deep into this, we're going to see what the people in the streets of London have to say about this topic. What are the stresses, the problems that happen when children come, and how do you deal with this? Let's listen. We'll come right back.
So many couples see a new baby as the start of a beautiful family, but statistics show that for many it can also bring unexpected distance. Many couples experience more conflict in the first year after having a child. In your experience or observation, what's the biggest shift you've seen or heard in a couple's relationship after a child arrives?
Distancing. The distance, a couple tend to distance themselves after having the first child. Yeah, that's the biggest shift I've seen so far. But in the meantime, there's also like people they tend to get together, try to get closer.
I think the thing is that you are so sleep deprived that you haven't got that much room to accommodate your partner's needs, and they're probably in a similar boat. So you end up kind of like having it's like a competitiveness of who's tireder. Like there's a sort of thing where you'll be like, oh, but I woke up 4 times in the night. You'll be like, but I was up for 3 hours, and you sort of end up having this thing where because you're so sleep deprived yourself, you can't really accommodate somebody else. I think that is the big divide. And it eases as your baby gets older, and there's lots of joy around it as well. But I think that thing of just like, I haven't got anything to give to anybody else because I'm so tired.
Yeah, it's something I've observed in the community. I was born in Ghana, and I live most of my life in Ghana. It happens in Ghana as well. So many people get married, and then their marriage collapses. In a sense where after marriage they were not having enough finances, so it collapses, and so that means they don't bond very close. But if they have enough finances, and I think it becomes no big problem in terms where when it starts and you hear the good news that you're having a child and you have the finances to take care of the child, I don't think there will be a problem. But even if you don't have, there should be good communication, and both of you have to work together in terms of taking care of the child, because I believe as a couple you have to work together as a team. So if that's not there, then it's gonna be a problem.
Being the man just he's not there, you know. But yeah, I have a very controversial view of things like that. If the man says he doesn't want the baby and you bring the baby, it's your choice to do it on your own. You shouldn't really expect him to. Vice versa for the girl, you know, if the man said he doesn't want it and you choose to bring the baby, then you choose to. And I feel like that the baby just being born, financial stress, I feel like that is just it. But as the mum, I'm not going to see it like that because I've just got to get on with it. Do you get it? So financial stress wouldn't mean anything to me because I would have to just get on with it. But that's what I feel it could be. Money and the baby crying and them having to get up. And some women are the same way. Some women are not maternal.
I think when it comes to parents or being a couple, it's who does what, and mostly it does fall on the mother. So honestly, it's about communication. If you make sure that you communicate with your partner about them sort of doing more, I would say, then it shouldn't be a problem. I would say you're right in terms of there is more fights in the first year, but that can be easily resolved if you just make sure that you communicate whatever problems you have regarding the child. But I think it's mostly about the amount that they do, because obviously it's about feeding and changing and bathing and then doing the bottles. There's small responsibilities, and obviously I think it gets really overwhelming for the mother when you do every single thing. So I think that's the main thing. I think as long as your partner understands where you're coming from, my partner is very good at understanding. He helps me so much, and I'm so thankful, because I know there's a lot of men that won't do as much, but he's great. I really, really appreciate everything that he does. Right? Yeah. He agrees. You agree?
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
So let's talk about this. What happens to a couple, not all the time, but many times, when a child or children come into play? And we see this all the time. We talk to couples with problems like this all the time. Is that before the child came along, the couple put a lot of time and investment into their marriage, and that's the right thing to do. Children come along, and then things change, and all the priorities, all the effort is placed on the children. And that happens while the child lives with the parents. Let's call it 18 to 20 years, because the child goes off to university or not, and then moves out. And then when the children move out, you have what is commonly known now as empty nesters. So the father and the mother, the children move away, and they are left alone and in this empty nest. And the problem often arises at that time, because for 18 years, 20 years, you were so busy trying to bring up that child, trying to educate that child, that you never noticed that you didn't talk to each other, or that you stopped talking to each other, or that you stopped investing in still in your marriage. And a lot of couples find, Elena, that when children move away, they've got nothing left to talk about. Right? Before the children came along, they would talk about their dreams, their hopes, their plans. And then children grow up, move away, and there's no topic of conversation. There's nothing to talk about. And they see that for 18 years, the only glue that brought them together were the children. Prior to the children, the glue that brought them together was their love, their passion for each other, wanting to do things together. But all that disappeared for those years where the children were around. And that's not to say that children are a problem, because they're not. They're a blessing of God. But we cannot forget why two people are together.
Yes, and you did fast forward quite a lot to the empty nest, but I still would like to talk about a little bit, if you don't mind, about people, as much as possible, because we know it's not always possible, to plan having children. We live in days in a society, or everyone lives in different situations, but life is very expensive. People seem to be rushing everywhere all the time. They leave home very early. They come home very late at night. They don't have time even to cook a proper meal. They eat, microwave is what helps them, ready meals.
Or air fryer, that's a new one.
Yes. So if you add a child, what do you have there? Are things going to get easier or more difficult or harder? The answer is quite obvious. And I'm not saying by this that, okay, so let's not have children, let's not build families. No, but remember, we were talking about love the old-fashioned way, the other day. I think the same rule applies to having children. The old-fashioned way is to plan, can we afford it? Yes. Can we not afford it? No, not at the moment. Because all this will add to the pressures that you already have without having children. So the maths are very simple. So because you know this, you know the consequences of not being careful, not planning a pregnancy, they will be quite taxing. I don't know about men, but women that don't sleep much, they usually don't feel very well.
And you're talking about...
And then it goes downhill from there. It's your health that suffers, is your mood, and you don't want to see anybody around you. You get into survival mode.
You're talking about people not planning for pregnancy, but there's also those who believe that having a child will fix the problems in their marriage. They think, look, we're having problems, we don't understand each other. Maybe having a child will bring us closer together.
That's a myth, isn't it?
And it doesn't. Imagine if it's difficult to navigate that relationship when you have more time, when you have time to invest in each other, to solve things. Imagine bringing a child into the mix. Not only does it make the situation more difficult for your marriage, but also for the child. Because she will have to grow up in an environment who knows of conflict.
Yeah.
If you are not able to solve conflict in a relationship without children, imagine throwing a child into the mix. Of course, it becomes more difficult. And I think I want to talk about as well, Elena, something that we see happening a lot, which is people who say, you ask them, look, who's more important? Who's first in your life? Is it?
Yeah, we do get that question.
Yeah. Who's first? Your children?
Who's priority?
Or your spouse? And 9 times out of 10, people will say, my child. But that child only exists because you were together with someone. And what people fail to realize is that children need very little to be happy. Maybe you're thinking about sending them to private school, private university. Listen, that's your prerogative. You can choose to do that. But a child to be happy just needs a happy home.
Yes.
And putting that child ahead of everything else will make the marriage to suffer. Now, we know, Elena, that this is not a popular opinion.
Yeah.
This is when we talk about ruffling some feathers, this is it. But when marriages are stable, are happy, the child is happy.
Yeah.
When you do everything to make that child happy, a lot of us growing up, those who are older generation, we didn't have certain things that today children take for granted. We didn't have gadgets and
trendy stuff,
and PlayStations and all this kind of stuff. We would play throwing rocks at each other and riding bikes.
True. In the 80s.
Climbing
Welcome
trees.
To the 80s.
Right?
Yeah.
Did you climb trees?
I did.
And
I used to play football with my cousins.
Actually, for those who don't know, Elena plays better football than me.
And you know
it or
something, we do carry scars from, playing outside with our family, with our friends, until it got dark.
Yeah.
And then you would hear your mom shouting,
Come
hey,
home.
Come home, it's late, dinner is on the table.
Yeah,
Very different times.
And your mom would buy you a pair of shoes and say, this pair of shoes better last you this whole school semester, right?
Yeah.
It better last you.
Yeah.
And if it didn't, then tough luck. And now, people often think, well, I need to give my child everything that I didn't have.
Oh, to compensate as well for not being around.
Could be. But we didn't have a good or bad childhood because we had certain things or we didn't have certain things. And we were okay.
Yeah.
The investment it starts in the marriage. Because if you have this successful, happy marriage, that spills over to the children.
Yes, and scientifically, it's well known that a baby can sense stress from the mother from when he's inside the womb already. Stress, happiness, and all that. So imagine when he's outside and now he can see as well as listening to what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, you there's no such thing. Maybe we can put it in a different way. It's not that, yes, marriage is more important, but maybe if we don't use that word, that will help the listeners to understand a bit better what we mean. It's that the marriage has a place and the children have another place.
Mm-hmm.
They are both very important, but there's not one doesn't exist without the other. So I can't favor one or the other. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, if we look deep into this, we'll see that it's correct. This is accurate. We have to plan as much as possible. I know it happens that people get pregnant by, like they didn't plan. But now you need like a support. Part of planning is like a support around you. Having family and friends that know you are pregnant or you are planning on building a family. Listen, you will need time off to breathe a little bit, because it is intense. I remember I grew up, well, in a big family. My mother, we are 4 siblings, and I'm not the eldest, but I'm the second before the eldest. And I remember it was a struggle for my mother, because it was one after the other. We are all 11 months apart. Only the third one is 4 years apart. So it was a struggle for her. Humanly speaking, it's a lot of chores, a lot of crying, a lot of nappies. And it can take a toll on you if you don't have like a support system of some kind.
Yeah.
And a good communication with your spouse and commitment
On this point,
from both sides.
On this point, I was actually talking to someone a couple of days ago who is about to have a child, a young couple from church. And, this is going to be the first grandson on both sides of the parents of the bride and groom.
And the in-laws, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's going to be, there's uncles and so on. I told them like this, look, guys, it's going to be great that you have a child, but make the most of the free childcare that you have available. Because the grandparents and uncle and aunties, they're going to be fighting to look after the baby. You won't even have to ask. And this baby is going to be much loved, and they're going to want to look after the baby in the weekends and so on. So I told them, make the most of that so that you can spend some time together.
Yes.
Not rebuilding, but strengthening your relationship even further. We are going to listen to a testimony now and then some highlights from the Love Therapy service. But when we come back, we're going to look at common problems when couples have children and simple solutions. Common problems and simple solutions. Bear that in mind. Common problems and simple solutions. Let's watch this testimony, listen to some highlights from the Love Therapy last week, and we'll come right back.
There's a moment in my life where I literally was at the bottom, dealing with my husband's illness and my daughter, disobedient, going out, getting drunk, we don't know where she is, with a different guy. There was arguments with my husband, problems in our marriage because he would blame me and he would say, you know where she is. It was not the girl we brought up. When she was born, she was a very sweet girl. She would, even growing up, she would listen. I don't know what changed. I was dreamt of a life that was, being happy, being married, having kids. But my childhood was not very good. My mother just despised me. I've got siblings, they didn't want to know me. I ran away from home at the age of 15, slept in Waterloo Station was my home. I didn't know where I was going, what I was doing. I just used to go from here then just to keep warm. A guy that I used to work in a supermarket, he saw me and he said, I'll take you to a friend's place that I know. It's in Stockwell and he will give you a place to stay. When I went there, I just went with the clothes on my back. That was it. I had nothing else with me. And I used to keep going back to that same house until he says, you don't have anywhere to go. I said, no. Obviously, I had nowhere else to go, so I stayed there. And we used to go out every day. We used to be drinking. We used to stay out all night. It was good for a while, and then gradually it just got worse and worse. I was very jealous. He looks at another woman, I would get so jealous, I would start fights with him. I would say, you're cheating on me, you're just looking at her, you're not paying attention to me. And then our fights will start. He would raise his hands, I will raise his hands, he would verbally abuse, I will do the same thing. I just wouldn't listen to what he would say. He would say so, I said, no, I'm not doing it. And then that's how I would provoke him. I was 16 when I met him, and then I fell pregnant when I was 17 with my eldest son. And still things wasn't good. I thought, oh, that will make it better. He will love me, he would look after me. It still wasn't that great when we had my daughter also. Things were getting worse. He would like to gamble on the horses, and there were days sometimes we had no money. I would work, my salary will go. Sometimes you're thinking, oh, there's not enough food for the kids. How is the kids going to eat? We would have to borrow money from people, and I'm there at home and just wondering, when is the situation going to change? How is it going to change? What can I do to make it change? And then one day my mother-in-law introduced me to the Universal Church, and I went there and I didn't get any feeling. I just sat there and I was just looking around, and then I left the church. And then my mother said, are you coming back? So I said, I don't know, I'll think about it. Slowly, I was going back to the church. I did get baptized, but I didn't change. I never used to forgive. I used to always blame other people for things. I would never take the blame myself, even with the kids. I will scream, shout at the kids. My husband said, you're going to that church, but I don't see any changes. Why are you going to the church? It's not doing you any good. And I said, no, something has to change. I was going back to the church, talking more to the assistants, what to do, talking more to the pastors. Pastor said, if you give all on the altar and you give your life fully 100% to God, your life will change completely. It had to start from me. I had to do it. I had to change myself first. Most of all, what I wanted and needed was the Holy Spirit. I went to the altar, I put everything and I said to God, I'm giving you my all. I have nothing else left. All that I have, I'm giving it to you. You have to change my life. I kept going and learning more, reading the Bible more. And then it was when I was baptized with the Holy Spirit, the changes came. So I forgave, I stopped the drinking, stopped going to parties, and be more at home with my husband, more patient with him. The change that I saw in me, I wanted that for my family. I went to the altar and I said to God, this is what I want. I want the change in my daughter, in my husband, because my husband had an illness. They gave him 5 years, which it's gotten more than 5 years now. He's just turned 60. This is his 60th birthday. And also we go traveling a lot to Spain, which he would never do. He's much more calmer. He doesn't argue. The changes I've seen in my family, in all of my children, all of them are doing well. They're all working. They don't go out drinking. They don't go out clubbing. They're not in gangs. I look at my family now and what they were before, and it's only God that's changed them, because I changed in myself. That's what I put on the altar.
At home, growing up, it wasn't pleasant. It wasn't a nice environment to be in. So it wasn't quite loving. There was a lot of anger, arguments, fighting within the whole family. No one liked to talk. No one liked to say anything. So nothing would get resolved. The environment stayed tense all the time. People would overreact all the time, or just abrupt over little things. So there was no unity there. There wasn't any peace at all. I never used to like to be at home. I used to go out hours, sometimes days. I never told my parents where I would be. That led to me finding friends outside and just wanting to have what they had because they seemed happy. They were going out, partying, drinking, and it seemed fun. I was always unhappy, even doing those things, even being around people. I wasn't happy because the escape didn't provide me what I needed either. And then coming back home, you wouldn't see that either. So you were always feeling low and trying to fill that void and that gap and trying to find something to make you feel better. Over time, over years, just noticing that there was less arguments were happening, there was less anger in the house, and even the way that my mum would approach arguments or approach, dealing with my dad had changed. So she stopped overreacting. She stopped being quick to anger. So she was more calm. She became more just peaceful, more patient, more easy to just be around and talk to. And all the tension started to fade away over time. And the way that my parents started talking to each other changed, and the way that they would argue disappeared, and the environment became a lot more peaceful. And I thought, well, if that part of things can change at home, then it can change for me as well. So I decided to come back myself, and that's when I built up new friendships within the church and started listening to the word and understanding it myself, and learning how to, pray for myself, and learning how to find the only peace that will really help me. I did get baptized and noticed that within myself I have changed. Like, I don't go out, I don't look for the validation, I don't look to fill voids, by drinking, by partying, because I don't need them. And I don't miss that. Today, I have my own family and I have my own little boy now, and I never thought I'd have that. It's only through the change of seeing what my mum's been through, and my grandma as well coming here. So yeah, definitely, thank God.
Yes, my daughter, I'm so glad God has changed my life, and I see it changing your life too. I'm very proud of you, all that you've done, and now you're a mother. I love you.
At The Love Therapy, we learn that true love begins with God, the source of all wisdom and strength. When our relationship with Him is secure, we are better equipped to love our families, our spouses, and those around us. Here are a few key moments from Thursday's message to guide and encourage us.
We're going to look at 6 things to consider in marriage, in a relationship. And if you are not married, you can take this and learn so that you can start applying it to your relationship. So 6 important things to consider. The first one, why not change before problems happen in the marriage? If someone says to you, if your spouse says to you, look, honey, this thing that you do is a problem for me. Don't dispute, solve it. Solve it, because if the person is taking time of day to tell you, this is a problem for me, solve it. Don't wait for that to become even a bigger problem and then it's too late. Second thing to consider, don't try to turn your spouse into a version of yourself. Respect the differences. A lot of marriages have problems, relationships have problems, because the person spends their life trying to convert the other person into how they are. The opposite is important, that if you are a certain way and you're okay with that, but the other person's a different way and you are also okay with that, you have a perfect balance. So don't try to turn your spouse into a version of who you are. If the person likes things you don't like, it's okay. If the person speaks in a way you don't necessarily like, listens to music in a certain way that you don't, all of this is okay. Third thing to consider. Small, unresolved problems can cause serious damage.
It's like this building, for example, or any building, looks really good on the outside, on the inside, but it needs maintenance. The roof needs maintenance. If there is a little tiny hole and there is a little bit of water that gets through, maybe we will not see the damage. Not maybe. Surely we will not see the damage immediately. But some of these things, when the damage is seen, it's late, or you can't afford to fix it, or you need to go for surgery or whatever. Think of something really drastic. So the small things, even Jesus said, the small foxes, these are the ones we need to be careful with, because they dig the little holes and they get into places.
The next one, and this is, we could put wives there, but usually the ones who tend to be more unbalanced with work are usually men. because men are hardwired to work hard, because usually women assess success differently. The next thing to consider, lack of communication causes distance. And the last point to consider, we already spoke about communication, but have open lines of communication and say no to what? To lies. And this has to do with you being a person of God or not. If you're born of God and you are of God, lies do not come out of your mouth, ever. In fact, if you are born of God and you do not lie, the person who's with you trusts you 100%. The problem is that if you lie, and not if it comes to the surface, but it will. Sometimes you see in the news, they find out about lies after the person had died. Transparency, sincerity is the most important thing. Without that, you've got nothing. So these 6 things here are very important to consider. Not speaking the truth is very tiring, because you always have to remember your lies to keep tracking what you've done.
If you'd like to go deeper and learn how to make love work in real life, don't miss Love Therapy every Thursday at 8 p.m. In a welcoming environment, you'll gain insights and tools to improve your relationships and build the kind of love that lasts. Join us at 2327 Sisters Road, Finsbury Park, London, N4 3NX, or at selected locations across the UK. It could be the first step to a happier, healthier love life. For more information, visit our website, uckg.org.
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
Welcome back. Let's go to some common problems and simple answers before we go for the question of today. Okay? Mm-hmm. Let's go. So one of the things that happens a lot is tiredness because of not being able to sleep well. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And that leads to stress. Tiredness leads to stress, and stress and tiredness leads to
moodiness.
How did you know?
Because it's familiar to many women, unfortunately.
Tiredness and
very much so.
And lack of sleep leads to grumpiness.
I can almost hear the women who are driving or listening like, you got it. That's exactly it. Thank you very much for saying it for us.
And nobody likes to be around a grumpy person.
Not even the person who is grumpy feels happy with her grumpiness, let me tell you.
What is a simple solution for that? You know, try to do this thing where, look, you know, a few days, we know that in the beginning, when the baby's very, very small, there's a matter of breastfeeding. Mm-hmm. And so far, men are not able to breastfeed yet, and I don't think that's happening anytime soon. That's not soon. It's not happening. It's not a thing. So that can only be the mom.
I don't know. Don't underestimate technology.
No,
I'm joking.
Let's not go there.
Yes.
But when that time is nearing its end, at least during the night, it's very important that there is this process of a couple of nights the man wakes up to do the nappies, to, you know, the crying, the feeding, if he can, with the bottle and so on. The mom gets a few nights rest, and then you swap. It's like a tag team, right?
Yes.
Where you tag the other person in, and they do that for a few days.
Think of the Olympics.
Exactly.
You know?
Like a relay race.
You know, think of the Olympics. That's how it is for the next few days.
Yeah. Another common problem, arguing or having disagreements in front of the son, the daughter, in front of the child. Mm-hmm. You know, couples disagree. That's reality. There's nothing you can do about that. Yeah. And that's normal because we are two different people. But one of the important things a decision to make right at the beginning when a child is arriving is to make a decision not to have disagreements, and I wouldn't say arguments, but animated disagreements in front of the child. You disagree on something, put the child to sleep, go into another room, and then solve the problem.
Yes, and also still to do with that, don't say yes to the child and then your spouse comes around afterwards and say no. Removing your authority in front of your child. That's the worst thing you can do. But there's something else I can think of, that really, in my opinion, really helps couples at this stage of their lives, is that a woman usually feels very fragile when she feels overwhelmed. Even if she's not having a baby, for other reasons, work pressure or even menopause, all these changes in life. I think it's important that the spouse has a lot of empathy and mercy. I'm trying to find other words here, please help me. Towards the spouse, because there are things that only women go through. Like there are things that only men go through. So I think we need to empathize with one another a lot. We need to be very merciful, very caring, and not take things too seriously. Oh, she told me, oh, go and get your dinner from the store. Don't you see I'm busy? She didn't mean it that way, or he didn't mean it that way. Just forgive, because I think that many couples hold a lot of resentment towards each other, and then they blame each other, and it's a never-ending story.
But it's also important to say that these moments of stress that happen and so on, and that the other person has to be merciful with you, it doesn't give you the right, the green card to say whatever you want.
Of course
We're not perfect, and we have to be merciful with each other.
We need to be polite.
But we need to understand that just because someone loves us, it doesn't mean we can say whatever we want. It's very important. We could make a lot of other points, but we're going to talk about one last one. One last one is the diminished intimacy that can happen because of children. And perhaps there could be a few suggestions we could give here. Number one, if you've got family around you, if you've got, your parents, if you've got your father, mother-in-law, your parents-in-law, if you've got aunties who love your child is the first, the second in the family, and they're constantly telling you, listen, anytime you want, I'll look after your baby. It's a pleasure. I want to be there for you. Make the most of that so that you can spend time investing in your marriage. Number two, it's very cute to have a baby, a child, sleeping in your bed. But that space is sacred for you and for your spouse. So there should be, we have these ground rules in marriage that should be unbreakable. That space is sacred for you and for your spouse to spend time together, to talk, and of course, you're a couple, to have intimacy as well. So when there is this structure, to understand that a child, a baby, a teenager takes a lot of time, a lot of investment. But if you don't invest in the marriage, in the relationship, it's counterproductive and things fall apart.
Yeah. And, we do have people who say, I don't know if you've heard this, but it's quite popular. Oh, I don't want to disturb anybody. I'll just power through. No. Ask for help. Even if you don't have the support, like we mentioned, seek ways to receive help. Speak to your GP. There are lots of support, at least in the UK, for new parents. People you can talk to, professionals, if you're not coping. And of course, they can call our helpline. Because some things are not physical, some things are spiritual. Like the need to speak to God about how you're feeling. it's all good and important to speak to a professional about an issue, but there's something about speaking to God about your issues. And we can guide you through that, so you can find the hope that you need, that maybe you lost. Maybe you think that there's no way back into a happy marriage anymore, that you can't recover from whatever was said and done, and all these things, because many break up during pregnancy even.
Yeah.
So there is help out there, and I would like to invite them also to.
And that proves a point, what you said, that many break up during a relationship when they have children. That proves a point that you don't hold someone, your partner's about to leave, you don't hold him because you get pregnant, because you have children, or vice versa. You don't save a marriage because of a children. Listen, that's a myth. That doesn't happen. That's not true. In order for a marriage to work, a relationship to work, you need to invest in the marriage, not in a child. A child is a consequence of a marriage that is stable, happy.
Absolutely.
And without a doubt, the child will be happy. You don't have to do much. All you have to do is to make sure that your relationship is stable. Now, if you, like Elena said at the beginning, you come from, your life wasn't ideal and your relationship broke down and you now find yourself a single dad, a single mom, then that's where God comes in. Actually, the Bible says in Isaiah, I will be your husband. God says, I will be your husband. So he will be your support. He will be there for you to guide you. We are now going to listen to a beautiful song. And when we come back, I want to give you the address for our church, our headquarters, the helpline number, so that you can call in case you're going through problems, because we are here for you 7 days a week. We'll come back in a moment.
Stop, take a breath. It'll be alright. Just me, no more or less, is all that you require. I trust that you know the way that we'll go. If you're leading, then I'll follow. I get overwhelmed sometimes, but every time your love reminds me that you're never hard to find. You're in every moment waiting, even when I start to strive. Living in your love is easy. I get overwhelmed sometimes. Stop, take a breath. It'll be alright. Just me, no more or less, is all that you require. I trust that you know the way that we'll go. If you're leading, then I'll follow. I get overwhelmed sometimes, but every time your love reminds me that you're never hard to find. You're in every moment waiting, even when I start to strive. Living in your love is easy. I get overwhelmed sometimes. I need you to slow me down and tell me not to worry. I know that here and now it's just a moment in the story. This weight that I'm feeling may be all consuming, but you are working all things together for good. I need you to slow me down and tell me not to worry. I know that here and now it's just a moment in the story. This weight that I'm feeling
This is the Love Talk Show on Liberty Radio.
The Universal Church of the Kingdom of God is open 7 days a week, and you don't have to wait until next week, Thursday, for another love therapy service. You can come. I mean, now it's Friday night, the church is closed, but on Sunday at 10 o'clock, we will have the day of life in color. If you are someone who suffers with depression, anxiety, rejection, different problems that you've tried everything to solve and you couldn't solve, then this service is for you. It can help you. Sunday, 10 a.m., the address here in Finsbury Park, our headquarters is 232 Seven Sisters Road, London, N4 3NX, just outside the Finsbury Park tube station. If you want to talk to someone about the problems you're going through right now, I know it's close to 11 p.m., but there is someone available 24 hours a day to speak to you. You can speak to one of our pastors. The number is 020-7686-6000. Elena and I will be together this Sunday at 10 o'clock. In fact, every Sunday morning, we say a prayer for the family.
Yes,
and we take a few minutes, 5 minutes, to give a direction there based on the Bible in how you can have a blessed family. We've reached the end of our program, but on Monday we are back. Monday we're back. Remember, your program, The Love Talk Show, is with you Monday to Friday, 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Today we didn't have time for the question, but no worries, because Monday we're back with a program that is bigger and better.
That's right. Signing off now, but looking forward to talking to you again next week. Stay tuned and get in touch.
We will leave you now with several reasons why you should take part of the love therapy services. May God bless you. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you here back on Monday at the same time. God bless you.
Pay attention to the 10 reasons why you should take part in the love therapy. 10. Heal from the wounds of past relationships.
It's taught me a lot about love life, like things to avoid, things I need to be careful of, or things about my past that, I shouldn't have gotten into and I can change starting now.
9. Learn about intelligent love.
I didn't really know what love life was, and I didn't know, especially because of the household that I grew up in, there wasn't very much relationship, good marriage. So I got invited and I said, let me start coming. So when I started coming and hearing about intelligent love and how God really wants us to love other people, especially our spouse, I started coming more because I wanted to learn how to love within myself, and even everything that I learned to put into a relationship with God as well, and then one day in my marriage.
8. Prepare yourself before dating.
It's important to understand that the love therapy seminars are not just to find somebody, but to rebuild ourselves, to understand who we are, and then to, appreciate, to give to others when we know who we are.
7. Become a better husband or wife.
Communication is key. You don't need to blow things inside of you, but you need to talk about them so you can get to a solution. Both of you agree on the best thing, how to solve that issue.
6. Restore a marriage in crisis.
And what would you say to somebody that doesn't yet attend the love therapy seminars? What are they missing out on?
They're missing out on an opportunity of seeing how blessed a potential relationship could be, or finding a solution to the problem that they currently have in their relationship.
5. Learn to value yourself.
One thing that has always stood out for me coming to the love therapy is the fact of you're not coming here to find someone, but it's mainly focusing on you finding yourself, you learning how to be that man, that woman of God that you have to be, and later down the line, when it's the right time, God will bless you with that right person.
4. Win back a lost love.
What made me start coming and attending consistently is what I was learning was how I can invest in myself first and how I can take that into a relationship. If I don't know how to love myself properly first or invest in myself properly first, how can I invest in another person?
3. Debunk relationship myths.
The biggest thing I've seen change in myself is the way that I see relationships, because before it was
there were just a lot of negative examples around me, and that's how I looked at relationships. I didn't think anything good could come of it. My mentality changed and the way I saw relationships changed.
2. Learn how to choose someone compatible.
I wanted to be in a relationship, but it's like I didn't trust myself that I would be able to find a person who's suitable, or what we'd say is to find the right person, but now I know it's to find someone suitable. I would think maybe, because people used to tell me that, oh, you know, you look like the kind of person who would be abused. You know, you look like you're really gullible, you're really naive, you're very easy to like trick. So I kind of thought I would take that into my love life as well, and then I would end up choosing the wrong person, and it made me really close myself off for a lot of years.
1. Bulletproof your relationship.
How would you say it's helped in your relationship? What kind of things do you practice from the love therapy seminars already?
I guess not blaming each other and understanding that we're working as one, we're working together to fight the problem. You know, sometimes it's very easy to blame the person, oh, you're like this, you're like that, but understanding that we're actually working together, we're not against each other.
The Love Therapy, every Thursday at 8 p.m. at 232 Seven Sisters Road, Finsbury Park, London, N4 3NX. Also at selected locations across the country. You can find out more by calling us on 020 7686 6000. The following content may include sensitive material. Audience discretion is advised.
There is a man that's suicidal on the bridge.
Has he hurt himself? Jumped?
He's got a noose around his neck. Attached to the bridge.
Not on this bridge with tongue.
Good legs, some blue back. Good legs, blue.
Unfortunately, situations like these are repeated daily.
A separate unit takes the man to the nearest hospital for a mental health assessment.
The number of adults in the UK who are experiencing some level of depression has doubled.
According to the World Health Organization, someone ends their life every 40 seconds. At this very moment, multitudes upon multitudes of people are imprisoned within themselves by the chains of depression. They are those whose lives have slumped into a greyness and who, little by little, only consider a single solution, ending their own lives. If you feel this way, give yourself the opportunity to see life from a different angle. But things don't have to stay that way. Life in Colour, an inspiring event focused on mental well-being. A long-awaited opportunity to help your life regain its colour. This Sunday, 21st September, at 10 a.m. at the Cathedral of Miracles, 232 Seven Sisters Road, Finsbury Park, London, N4 3NX, or at your nearest Universal Church. For more information, access our website, uckg.org.
That wraps up the Love Talk Show. Till tomorrow.